the classification. That the President of the United States designated the main groups supporting Lula. That's a fact. He is the only candidate who goes into the favela, and his allied partners do the same. There's no need to even announce it. You just show up as if you were going to a relative's house. People, of course, after taking so many hits here every day. From those who show no regard for Brazilians. Sometimes they get, fearful, afraid. But guys, you have no idea what's coming. I watched a video here from Pitoli, and he said exactly what we think. What is actually going to happen? Why did Lula get so desperate about Trump's designation regarding these groups? It's not that he supports them so much. Because a lot of people are going to get caught up in this. They will. Calm down, right? Of course, we're going to see absurd things from the media. They'll do anything to keep Lula from falling. You see these ads. You turn on the TV. Even streaming services have them. Every 5 minutes, it's ads, government ads. Using your money, our money. None of that is solving these issues of popularity, polls, that Lula has been gaining ground, and so on. Guys, Lula spends money on things that really leave us shocked, right? Sometimes he sends money for things that aren't even necessary. You think he wouldn't spend money to get a boost in these polls? Look at how desperate they are now. The desperation about the issue with Casio. All those reporters came out desperate. No, for God's sake, you can't do that. They're censoring. They're showing the truth about Lulinha. That's what they have for now. It's with this one, it's Datafolha. I think today the Datafolha poll will come out. They just don't release it on Thursday, right? When they can't keep up with the other polls. Then it's on Saturday. But today it will come out. We're going to have to be very flexible. There's still a lot of game left to play, right? Making a pun since today is the opening of the World Cup, right? I'm going to be honest with you about this issue. Keep sharing this video a lot. There's a lot of news here, a lot of information here. There's no other way. We want to watch the World Cup, right? We want to watch the World Cup. I'll have to follow it on SBT. At least I like Thiago Leifert. Right? Galvão. I'll be honest, I like Galvão's commentary. I like his commentary. Sometimes it's really annoying, but that's another thing, right? So I'll watch it on SBT. If it's on TV, I can't separate it. Even less on Globo, right? And speaking of the World Cup, look what Trump did here. Trump destroyed Mexico. With that woman over there. Did you guys see what's happening? Mexico, believe it or not, is still a safer country than ours. Yeah, it's unbelievable, right? But it is. It's safer than ours. Yeah, extremely violent. But Brazil manages to be worse than Mexico. Look at what Trump did. With the whole world watching and all the attention on the World Cup, the United States exposed Claudia Sheinbaum, one of Lula's main allies from the left as well, for the violence and social chaos that Mexico is experiencing. By issuing a travel warning for Mexico during the 2026 World Cup, the United States Embassy in the country issued a travel warning for fans who decide to travel through Mexican territory. Right? CDMX and Nuevo León are at level 2, while Guadalajara is at level 3, with 4 being the most dangerous category. In Brazil, it's probably already in the 10th category. That's the fact. And Trump showed the whole world how dangerous Mexico is today. It's the countries. Look. And who governs? The left. It's the same thing as the situation in the Northeast. Which are the most violent states today, right? Rio de Janeiro has always been, so there's no basis for that. Bahia, Ceará, Pernambuco, Rio Grande do Norte, that's where the gangs are aligned. Of course there are, but take a look. See if there are gangs in Paraná, if there are gangs in Santa Catarina, If there are gangs in Mato Grosso do Sul, if there are gangs around Brasilia, no, there aren't. Of course, much smaller. There are some branches there, but not like in the states of the Northeast, where that's all there is. Look at Amazonas. Look at Amazonas, right? So, we see it's the same thing. Countries that are governed by leftists are in this social chaos. Why? I always say it here. The terrible ruler, he reigns and governs. In fact, he misgoverns over chaos. Sun Tzu's manual, okay? And what about Trump? It hasn't even started yet. It hasn't even started. I was watching this video from Patolio, right? Watching this video. Let me show you guys. Keep sharing the video a lot, my friends. Hit the like button and come be a part of our family. Guys, first, I want to share an opportunity. Let me show you the nin favorites here. I always post the video here, the one I made recently, losing 2 kilos in a day. Then people say, no, it's just water weight and stuff. Look at the footage. Look at my face. Look at my face. I only sell the product here that I fully trust. Look at my face. Look at the footage. This really works. It hasn't even been a year. It hasn't even been a year, really. I know what I'm talking about. Look at my pants. My pants. Look how loose they are, and obviously they're already here. I don't wear a belt, see? You can fit a hand in here. The product works, obviously. You have to have, discipline, routine, record keeping, like that. We have to plan, but it really helps, guys. It was 20 kilos. 20 kilos that I lost, right? After 40, it gets harder for us to lose weight. It really is harder. Even if you exercise every day, and I do, I wasn't able to lose weight, focus, discipline, actually losing weight. The pictures speak for themselves. Look at my face. My face is totally different. So it's worth it. If you don't want to miss this opportunity, an easier way, natural, extremely natural, it's a little powder that you add, right? Especially with those greasy meals, it will help you get rid of fat, to lose inches. The link is right below. A great opportunity to lose weight in a healthy way. With quality of life, it makes a difference. Totally. Pants that didn't fit before start to fit. Our self-esteem gets much higher. That's a fact, right? The link is right below. For those who don't want to miss this opportunity to lose weight today, okay? Look at this.
We're going to do this for the first time in our history, so we can understand the movement at the root of the problem. It's the flow of money. That's the reason for Lula's desperation. That's the reason for the financial system's desperation. That's why the authorities are desperate. The ones heading to the United States are trying to get Americans to review this classification. It's not because they understand that it's out of pity. No, out of pity for the PCC or the CV. Now they're terrorists. Oh my God, no, let's remember this. How did I talk about the legislative law at that very moment when the front had done this? It was Tirão. Did it favor the list of criminals or not? Did they legislate at some point and weaken the laws? Fauci down. Did it favor the lives of criminals or not? Of course it did. Of course it did. When it favors the lives of criminals, automatically our lives get worse. But let me ask you, how is this structure maintained? Do you think it's just for ideals, or is there money involved? Let me clarify. Do you think crime can thrive without financially supporting the entire system? Do we go beyond the legislative structure? Because they need judges who will rule in favor of criminals, release them, and return assets. Who will release criminals? They need agents inside the public prosecutor's office who speak the same language to make life easier for criminals. Inside the civil and military police forces in every state. So public security agents are also part of the scheme. Many of them, unfortunately, are out there now saying they protect your city, but they're part of the crime scheme. Unfortunately or not, video exchange. He told us here about that movie. Inside the Congresses, inside the states, and it's structured for the following reason. Money. It's not about ideology. There's no free lunch. Whoever makes that law will get money. Whoever does that will give money. Whoever releases that will give money. And it's the first time that we will have the opportunity to understand the size of the problem for these guys. Because in this tracking, in this investigation, we will then be able to come to the conclusion of something I've been saying for some time. In Brazil, crime became organized, starting with the politicians who understood and saw an opportunity.
Look.
To weaken public security measures, making life easier for criminals. Weakening laws, helping, creating a structure and the right environment for crime to thrive. I see it here in Brazil. I'll bet anything that in Brazil, white-collar crime precedes organized crime. Of course, Vittorio, the PCC started in '92 after Carandiru. My friend, but that was meant to allow this. I can't imagine. Even though we know the leaders in prison, Fernandinho something, Macola something, these guys are in prison, okay? And did it stop operating? Did crime stop functioning on the outside? Why? Because Brazil, justice. They needed to give an answer by arresting the leaders, and the guys only get bigger out here. Why? Because the ones who are out here are the ones who really run things. The ones who are out here are the ones who call the shots. The ones who are out here are the ones who keep things going for the guys. By law, by overturning convictions, returning assets, and releasing the leader.
Release? No way.
It's out here where things happen. But all of this is fueled by money. And this classification, classifying this criminal faction as a terrorist group, will finally let us see where the money comes from, where it goes, and who gets it. That's why people are scared and why Lula opposes it so strongly. Let the fight happen. We'll be surprised. The financial system may have issues. If a bank closes, let it. What's the problem? Did something wrong? Go after those guys, man. Oh, but there will be, well, went back to doing things the wrong way? Pay the price, old man. Look at Claudia Sheinbaum in Mexico, the country's left-wing president. She closed the banks in Mexico. She made the decision to close them. It wasn't Trump who closed the banks in Mexico. She was the one who closed them. Things went bad, had to close banks in Mexico. Go see if Lula wants that. You already know which side Lula is on.
Pittorio knows everything about political analysis. To me, he's one of the best political analysts, right? Pittorio is like that radio station. Old school, right? I worked at a radio station like that here in my city, you know? I was lucky enough to start my journalism career already working at a radio station, just like Pittorio's, right? Of course, today it has much more structure. Back then, you know, when I was there were no social networks, right? Maybe it would be big now, right? In fact, it closed down. It was an AM station, you know? I always loved listening to AM news, even the sound. It's different from FM. I love it. I used to love it, right? Because now it doesn't exist anymore. But didn't you understand what Pittorio said? Trump hasn't even started yet, guys. He hasn't even started yet. Do you guys have any idea how many big fish are going to show up? I don't know. Yeah, and there's still more, right? Sooner or later, that's going to be unexpected. The designation, a new one, and now a lasting one. Magnificent. Why hasn't Trump done anything up to now? We were anxiously waiting, right? Because he's waiting too. What's the point of doing it now? Now is not the time. To counterattack, to, you know, release things that will complicate things for a lot of people on Lula's side. No, now is not the time. There are still months left until the electoral process. Jumping the gun now is wrong. This nonsense that Flavio, look at what Lula said, that Flavio was responsible for the tariffs. Trump hasn't put tariffs on anyone so far. Not a single one came, not a single cent, not a trace of a tariff. And look how they lie to you. They were telling me there, in those surveys, kind of what the deal is. Who is responsible for the United States putting tariffs on Brazil? What tariff? Remember, it was Inácio who caused the tariffs. He knows, the entire press knows, but their role is to deceive the people to give it that spin. It was Flavio, but there hasn't even been a tariff yet. They decided there will be one because of Inácio's filthy practices. The lie is so blatant that they're trying to convince people, especially ignorant and overlooked people, that Lula is the father of PICs. That Lula is the father of peaks. It's PICs. It's surreal how perverse and deceitful they are. Yesterday, Vorcaro was informing on that nefarious guy, the minister there from the ministry, that guy from the Ministry of Mines and Energy. I wouldn't even call these people ministers of this misgovernment. That guy from the Ministry of Mines and Energy, who's going to increase the percentage of alcohol in gasoline even more. It's outrageous. Vorcaro exposed 20 million going to him, and there are millions from Jacques Wagner. It's all that stuff there. No one said anything. They didn't say a word. We reported it here. Many others reported it too. You'll see, people, this designation of those two organizations, there won't be a stone left standing. Yeah. But there will be people who won't be able to leave Brazil. If they travel abroad, they'll end up like Jose Maria Mariam. They got stuck, just like Jota Avila. Jota Avila, just so you have an idea. Jota Avila was a businessman. So here's the thing, he's actually from Rio Preto. A businessman here in Brazil. Sometimes a businessman has to make shady deals, otherwise he can't get any business done. Okay? Yes, honestly, I met quite a few people who were connected to Jota Avila, right? Yeah, I can't say he was a bad person because he wasn't. That I can guarantee to you. The guy was a field reporter, right? I also worked for many years as a field reporter, right? He's totally different from those Mourinho brothers. Those guys are nefarious. Their father wasn't. But the sons aren't worth a damn. Not worth a damn. Look what they've turned Globo into. It was year after year, right? Year after year. But before, we didn't have social media to show it. First, it was the degradation of the family, those soap operas, right? It was betrayal. Then it kept escalating, right? Other issues that are even more controversial. Okay? So, my friends, it's still anyone's game. Okay? There's still a lot of game left to play. We're here. We're about 20 minutes into the first half. We still have to finish the first half, the second half, overtime, and penalties. And those penalties there, there's still a lot to happen, right? Yeah, and we're gonna have to keep our cool. Because they do. We're more emotional, right? But I feel like we're really gonna have to keep our cool because we're not dealing with normal people, okay? That's a fact. Hit the like button, come be part of our family, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and leave your comments. It has always been the battle between
good against evil.